anyways, somebody had a question. Yes. Okay, good. We need to get the microphone.
What's the weirdest thing you've been asked to do for a photo shoot?
Well, it's funny you say that. Just recently, David Hewlett and I were in Chicago. There's a Japanese lady who is so unassuming, because Japanese people are unassuming. They're very polite. But I realized after a while, she was very weird. Very kinky, and was like into kinky things. And she comes to do the photo, and she couldn't speak English. She said, I'm not here. She's trying to position us. Until finally, I'm like this, and David's like this. Oh, no. You're not doing this. I'm sorry. But for the right price, no. So that was weird. And we had to kind of tell her to back off. And, well, we did. So yeah, that was kind of weird. But in general, you know, it's always pretty easy. It's fairly simple. I think what's tough is that people look at you sometimes and they don't realize that you're just a person. You're not necessarily that character. And they want to like press a button and do this, go like that, you know. And sometimes it can be a little challenging, but my character is not that far away from home, so it's not that hard. So, why, are you gonna ask me something really weird in the photo tomorrow? He's thinking about it. You got 24 hours to think about that.
Hey.
Hello.
I was just wondering what you thought of Universe, the series.
I didn't even know there was a Universe series. No, I'm just joking. I tried to watch it. I didn't like it. I don't know what to say. I mean, I know I'm not supposed to say that, but you know me, I got a big mouth. I didn't like it. I just thought it was, I know what they were trying to do, but I don't think they did it. And at the end of the day, I mean, Battlestar is Battlestar, and Stargate is Stargate. And the qualities that make Stargate to me are, a lot of times it's like a level of self-deprecation, humor, a little repartee with the other characters. And I didn't see that in the show. And in fact, I saw a lot of people screaming at each other. A lot. Like, apparently good drama is all about screaming. I didn't know that. And I'm going to start screaming a lot more, you know, for an Emmy. But, so I just don't think it worked. And at no fault to anyone. I mean, those actors are all really talented. But the actors were deeply upset with me and David Hewlett for not supporting the show. But it was never anything personal at all. I really am a big supporter of actors and what they go through. I would never want that show to fail, you know. But David did say to them, you know, he goes, you have to understand that we were essentially replaced by you guys. Had you guys not come along, we would still be on the air. So it's not just that easy to say, oh yeah, support the next Stargate show. So I think it speaks for itself, because Universe did implode. And I've buried the franchise for the most part. It's the franchise has essentially been taken off the air for the first time in 13 years. So that is kind of hard to do. They did it. Yay. So, who's next? Oh. Watch out, there's a girl with a broomstick competing for the microphone.
Your favourite joke or one-liner from the Atlantis series?
Favorite joke or one-liner from the Atlantis? Man, that I can say to you guys? I don't, let's see. Favorite joke or one-liner? I don't know. I don't, you know, to be honest with you, my reality is kind of off camera. Like all the funny humor that happened is usually when the cameras aren't rolling. So anything on camera was generally scripted, and consequently a lot less funny. I'm just joking. I mean, there was funny parts, but I mean, David Hewlett has probably had to have all the best one-liners, right? Or did I have some good ones? I don't know. Maybe we should ask them. I'm sure there people.
You had a good one with hide and seek. You shot him.
I did?
Yeah.
What did I say?
I shot him.
I shot him. Oh yeah. You know what? That was my line. Yeah, that actually was. I remember saying that. Oh, there was a couple ones. I only remember the ones I came up with because I'm like, oh, those are funny. I made it up. And the writers, I'd always call up. I said, why don't we say this? And they usually were like, I think that's a bad idea. But I remember there was one thing where there was some wraith, and we had to capture her. And I go, oh, save me your wraith with a heart of gold, type of thing. And some of these things were kind of funny, and they actually worked. But you really had to fight for them. Actually, one of my favorite lines ever in maybe a terrible movie, which was called, I don't even like saying the name of this movie. It's called Ferocious Planet. It was called The Other Side. It was a science fiction movie that I did, shot in Ireland, and this U.S. senator is screaming at me, blah, 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 and I'm a Marine colonel, and he's blah, 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 blah. And then I say, no, you can't leave. It's dangerous out there. Don't go out there. There's a monster out there. And he's like, I'll tell you what to do, son, blah, blah, blah. And he walks out the door and gets killed by the monster. And I just said on camera, I was like, I guess he won't be running for re-election. But that was funny. Well, when we gave this stuff to the network, they didn't know what to do with it because they weren't looking for anything funny. So a lot of these things were kind of cut out, and then they changed the name of the movie to Ferocious Planet. I think that says it all. But if you're going to be a genre show, I like it when you're self-deprecating, or you better be really, really good and have very high production value. But unironic homage to a genre is a little tiring. I think audiences are too sophisticated with that. But don't ask me, I'm not a network executive. Yeah. Did somebody have a question? I feel like a dog.
Hi, I had a question about 6 bullets with the tattoos. Like, how many hours did that take?
Well, initially it took, I would say maybe the first time it took a couple hours, and then after that it was just a maintenance issue. But it didn't take too long. It wasn't too bad. Well, because it was a decal thing. They didn't do henna, it was outlawed. Had we done henna, actually it would have been easier. But henna is apparently illegal in Romania. Don't ask me why. But, I mean, you can get uranium. But henna. All right. Okay.
Thanks.
Sorry.
Okay. Are there any existing characters that you've never played that you'd like to, if you've got the chance?
Oh, there's so many. Where do I start? Any of the Indiana Jones, I love those. Love those. Obviously, Han Solo was an influence on me. And, God, that's Harrison Ford. I'd like to be Harrison Ford. Let's see, there are quite a few good roles. And I like that Deadwood series, but I feel like that, when the script came out, I was working, and I really wanted to read for that, but I guess I couldn't contractually or something. And that character, I just think, the way it was written as a pilot was going to be a great character. I don't think it became that in the series. Ian McShane pretty much really devoured the whole show because he's so good. He's just amazing on that show. I would have liked to have played that role, and I think that it would have been really fun, because unfortunately there was nobody there to go toe-to-toe and kind of push him back, and I think that would have created some really cool stuff on that show. And there's a lot. I mean, we can go into a lot. Almost all of Paul Newman's roles are just incredible. Would do any of those roles. The only thing that makes me angry is when I watch a movie and I feel like the guys are being given a chance to really hit it out of the park and they don't. And there's a lot of male leading men that I think are just not taking advantage of the material that's given to them. And it's not always their fault. It's not always their fault. It could be directing, it could be editing, it could be the studio, there's a million things, but it's unnerving to watch an opportunity for somebody and then not have them do a good job. It would be like sitting on the bench in the World Series and watching somebody not play second base as good as you can play second base. And that makes me a little crazy, which is why I'm going to kill them.